think first of all, I'll say all the obvious things, which I think if you've gone to the workshops, I'm sure here, and read about things, obviously it should be from a grammatical and formatting standpoint, very clear. I think one page at an undergrad really makes sense because it's easy. Often actually there are multiple pages, like you end up putting them when they get collated with somebody's back page is on the front page. It's always better to keep it as neat and simple and concise as possible. I would say if you're looking for, so beyond like all that, obviously, it's accurate, it's clear, it's punchy, very clear one-lines and very action-oriented. I would say if you're looking for a role like in a bank or in finance or in a big firm, particularly if I say any time if you have experiences where you have to lose like analytical skills or any, I would say use an example as analytical skills, even if you're going into an HR position or other things like that are going to kind of stand out. So I'd say versus
differentiator.
Yeah. Things like analytical or even anything that's commercial or so. It's just as an example, like you could have used chemistry as an example. You may work in a lab, or you may to have an extracurricular that's like chemistry related to the extent that in like a way that people who don't know chemistry, if you're looking at chemistry, can understand it. Like specifically what you did, if there was like a measurable or something quantifiable that you could say like in the research you did, and that I think stands out. I think particularly if you're looking, you mentioned banking, even if you don't have finance experience, having some analytical experience is helpful. But I would say being able to talk in an interview about, like if you worked at Starbucks or worked in food service or waited tables or hosted at a restaurant, being able to talk about like customer service and being able to talk about if you had an impact on sales in some way or the way anything that we made improvements to a process. I think that's another big thing. We look, so even at a bank, there are roles outside of finance. There's roles in HR, there's roles in operations, there's roles in like real estate management, there's roles in like special events, there's roles in like building operations, which is everything from like running the whole building internally from our vendors and we have a gym in the building, we have a cafeteria. There's people who like run all of those services that are Goldman employees, but they like manage the vendors. I mean, there's so many different jobs. There's thousands and thousands of jobs. So depending on what you're interested in doing, I'll think of operations as an example. We hire lots of non-business majors to do operations, which is so they have to be organized. They have to like be able to think through a process. They have to be able to kind of think about ways to change a process and make improvements. So as you're thinking about things, there's lots of different things you can include on a resume or an interview that don't necessarily, that you could tie from other experiences about saying, like, I worked in a bank previously. I hope that makes it a little bit all over the place.